Now, two shootings in Carbondale over the unofficial Halloween weekend. The new SIU chancellor ruffles feathers with his reorganization plan, and families want answers about the Niger ambush. Live from Southern Illinois University, this is River Region Evening Edition.
Still no word on the identity of a man shot up in Carbondale police over the weekend. Good evening, I'm Jacob Gordon.
And I'm Brittany Kyles. A shooting at Curbside at 227 West Main came early Saturday morning when police say they heard gunfire and saw an African-American man firing a gun toward a crowd of people. One officer shot the man, who was flown to a St. Louis hospital for treatment. Illinois State Police are also part of the investigation. And that same morning, police were called to the 500 block of South Ash at about 3 a.m. for a victim who suffered what police call a possible life-threatening gunshot wound. The victim was transported to a St. Louis area hospital. We will update this story as more becomes available.
In the middle of the gun violence, in an attempt at creating a respite from it, across from the train tracks, the Newman Catholic Student Center partnered with Phi Beta Sigma fraternity Saturday afternoon for a gun violence awareness walk. Many Southern Illinois University Greek Life members came in support, stopping gun violence with drinks and donuts.
Shooting affects more than just the person that you shot. So it affects the families of the victims that are involved. It affects the friends of the victims that are involved.
SIU senior Matthew Wilson spoke about how people would feel if they lost someone close to them and how the shooting needs to end. Carbondale police talked to guests at the gun walk about the ways to stop the violence.
Last year, the shooting percentages have increased tremendously, and I really want that to change, to go down, to just stop in general, because it shouldn't even come to shooting. At the end of the day, God has the final say.
Students made signs and held them in the air to raise awareness about gun violence. Many of them left the Newman Center to walk down the Illinois Avenue Strip, singing and clapping together for peace.
Yeah, I definitely hope something is being done after, the gun violence
I
walk.
hope so too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, let's get to weather. It's definitely been cold. Fall weather is definitely taking full effect. I advise people to get those hats, those gloves, and those scarves. What do you think?
I like this weather. It's kind of nice. Instead of sweating, you just kind of walk outside, and it's just kind of a nicer out.
Yeah.
Let's head over to Alejandro with a look at your first weather.
Thank you, Jacob. Well, like you guys mentioned, it has been a pretty cold day since the morning. It's been pretty chilly with temperatures in the mid-50s. For tonight, we'll be looking at 45 degrees. It's still going to be chilly throughout the whole day. Thankfully, during the midday today, it kind of got sunnier, and we were able to feel the heat from the sun. For tomorrow morning, it's going to be the same thing. Now for our headlines, we'll be talking about possible rain in the week, decreasing temperatures, and a 5-day forecast and more.
Well, SIU's chancellor has been prompting his plan for the structural reorganization of the university.
Now we look at reaction to those potential changes. Evening Edition reporter Taylor Vessel joins us live in the studio with more. Taylor?
A proposal that reaches to every corner of the Carbondale campus, consolidating numerous programs. The chancellor's reorganization plan has left many Salukis with another question for every answer.
Feeling of uncertainty across campus.
Is anything really that broken here?
OLA is super underfunded. Is MICMA now going to be super underfunded?
We're just kind of waiting and seeing.
After the reveal of Chancellor Carlo Montemagno's plan for reorganizing SIU, a plan causing confusion and criticism.
Whose idea of solving things is to throw everything up in the air and let's see how it falls down. With no apparent plan and no vision of what that's really going to do. What's that going to accomplish? Outside of making a lot of people really nervous.
People like Brandon Kyles.
I don't understand why these two colleges are being thrown together.
A member of student government and the Diversity Council, Kyles fears what could happen to students who already feel marginalized.
We're either the first ones to go or the worst to be hit. Because at the end of the day now it's going to be who's going to be catered to, who's going to be taken care of.
But when could we see the impact or the chancellor's vision?
If there is a vision, I don't see it. There's no evidence that what he is proposing is going to have any sort of impact.
Until things begin to kind of start getting fleshed out, I think it's hard to say what the impact will be.
The Chancellor has called on faculty to come forward with their concerns, hoping to achieve a final plan by mid-spring. Live in the studio, Taylor Vessel, Evening Edition.
5 seats are now open on the Carbondale Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. The Chamber's board includes 15 members who represent a variety of Carbondale businesses, organizations, and entities. The organization will hold its annual election in early December. The deadline to volunteer to run or to nominate a candidate is November 1st. Anyone interested in running for the board should call the Chamber office at 618-549-2146.
The Jackson Union County Division of Habitat for Humanity made a family in Murfreesboro happy over the weekend. A new home was presented to Nina Alexander and her daughter during a ceremony on Saturday. This ceremony was even more special because Nina's sister, Carolyn Alexander, was presented with a bag containing her shredded mortgage of 15 years. The organization is seeking out their next family to help with a home in Carbondale. Habitat for Humanity volunteer coordinator Barbara Rester says anyone interested should apply as soon as possible.
Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner has made it official. He's seeking re-election for a second term. Rauner released a video today saying he's won some and lost some, but he chooses to fight instead of throwing in the towel. Rauner has already put $50 million of his own money into his campaign fund. The gubernatorial race could be the most expensive nationwide, with Democratic candidates including billionaire businessman J.B. Pritzker.
The widow of one of the soldiers involved with the Niger ambush speaks out.
And the 5 living former presidents come together. Find out what for after the break. Nearly 3 weeks after 4 U.S. servicemen were killed in an ISIS-led ambush in Niger, the call for answers is growing.
But it's not just the investigation into their deaths that's getting attention. A public feud between a Gold Star widow and a Democratic congressman and President Trump continues to escalate. Omar Jimenez has the latest from Washington.
While military investigators dig into what exactly happened in that deadly ambush in Niger, some top lawmakers say they were left in the dark on the West African mission.
I didn't know there was 1,000 troops in Niger.
Did you know how many men and women were on the ground in Niger and what they're doing there?
I did not.
The Pentagon insists it kept Congress informed of the operation, and the White House says it notified congressional leaders in June about troops conducting counterterrorism duties in Niger and Cameroon. But some lawmakers say it wasn't enough.
We don't know exactly what happened, both to Sergeant Johnson. We have no clue what the conditions were.
Among the questions still lingering, how Sergeant LaDavid Johnson was separated from his 12-member team as it was ambushed. His body wasn't recovered until 48 hours later.
No matter where I was in Iraq, we always had a head count. The fact that a U.S. American soldier went missing tells us that a lot of things went wrong.
On ABC's Good Morning America, Sergeant Johnson's widow talking about the lack of answers.
I don't know how he got killed, where he got killed, or anything. I don't know that part.
The ambush also putting a spotlight on President Trump's dealings with Gold Star families. In the interview, Maisha Johnson was also critical of the condolence call from President Trump, confirming Florida Congresswoman Frederica Wilson's claim the call was disrespectful. President Trump on Twitter disputed the widow's account and has traded barbs with the Congresswoman for nearly a week. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
One senior congressional aide told NBC News that the attacks in Niger came after a single massive breakdown in military intelligence. The unidentified source says the military failed to keep surveillance overhead on the mission.
All 5 living former presidents appeared together for a hurricane relief benefit concert in Texas Saturday night, raising millions in the process. An evening originally planned to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Bush's 41st presidential library at Texas A&M University transformed into an opportunity for all 5 former presidents to raise money for hurricane victims. In a nod to national unity, they have
the response of Americans.
Let's all work together and make America still a greater volunteer nation.
The heart of America, without regard to race or religion or political party, is greater than our problems.
In a nod to national unity, they have dubbed their effort the One American Appeal, a charity that has raised more than $30 million for hurricane relief. President Donald Trump even made a cameo in a taped video message where he praised the former president's work as tremendous.
The federal deficit reached a high of $666 billion in the 2017 fiscal year, and $80 billion more than last year's deficit. This is the largest deficit the federal government has seen since 2013. Budget Director Mick Mulvaney says weak economic growth is to blame, and the smarter government spending and tax reform is needed to counter the crisis. The Senate approved a plan on Thursday that could speed up tax cuts, much to approval of the Republican Party, who says they would increase economic growth.
The number of uninsured Americans is now at a 3-year high after falling for years in a large part to the Affordable Care Act. 12.3% of American adults did not have insurance in the third quarter of 2017. That's according to the Gallup Sharecare Wellbeing Index. The share of uninsured Americans fell to a record low under Obamacare, according to the Gallup. But starting this year, the number began rising. Still, the uninsured rate remains well below its peak of 18%, reached in 2013. About 1 in 6 people who die prematurely every year could be the victim of pollution. That's according to a new study by The Lancet, a British medical journal. It says an estimated 9 million deaths worldwide in 2015 were linked to pollution. The study shows that air pollution was by far the biggest culprit, followed by water contamination. More than 90% of the victims were in low to middle income countries.
Target wants to lure in holiday shoppers who don't like the crowds. Target is offering free shipping on merchandise purchased on its website starting next month. The company is also rolling out more than 1,700 new products to tempt consumers. Also, shoppers who have the Target store's credit card will be able to pay for purchases by scanning their phones. A leading vegetable supplier in California voluntarily is recalling products that might have been contaminated with listeria. The man packing recall involves bags of mixed produce sold at several supermarkets across the U.S. and Canada. Visit the websites of the FDA and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency or Man Packing for more details on the products in question.
We have some good news for you if you aren't getting enough sleep at night and like to snack before bed.
I do. Evening Edition reporter Colin Dorsey has some tips for snacks that are good for bedtime.
The Center for Disease Control and Prevention says 1 in 3 adults in the U.S. aren't getting enough sleep. But if you like to end your day with a little snack before bed, you might like this. Some experts say there are snacks that can be effective in helping you wind down. You might have heard that eating too much turkey at Thanksgiving will make you sleepy. Well, that's because of the essential amino acid tryptophan that's in it. Your body converts the tryptophan into brain chemicals associated with sleep, melatonin and serotonin, which causes relaxation and drowsiness. So if you find yourself needing a good night's sleep and also enjoy a late night snack, try snacking on foods that contain high amounts of tryptophan, like egg whites, low-fat cheese, or chicken. Even seeds such as pumpkin or sesame. The University of Maryland Medical Center even says foods rich in carbohydrates, lean in protein, and low in fat may also boost the production of serotonin and melatonin. Foods such as granola, unsweetened cereals, or whole grain crackers with milk. For Evening Edition, I'm Colin Dorsey.
It was a soggy start to the day for many of us. Does this mean we're done with the 80-degree weather? Your full forecast is up next.
And stocks finished with negative results tonight. Watch the Nightly Business Report right here on WSIU at 5:30. We're back in 90 seconds.
You could say we're going to be looking at 50-degree weather, 60 degrees, 70, Friday 50 again. It's going to be pretty chilly throughout most of the day. So stay warm, folks.
All right. Thank you so much, Alejandro.
Thank you.
And now let's turn it over to Tyler Zobby with sports.
Thank you, Jacob. Saluki volleyball, had a doubleheader over. That was a 37-yard touchdown pass that put the Seahawks up 17-7. They ended up winning 24-7.
That's really good.
All right, what's the one we want to hear?
A cool day here in our region. Are the temperatures here to stay? Your 5-day forecast is up next.
You're watching Evening Edition at 5. Stay with us. Okay, looking at the weather in the next couple of days. Today was kind of cool, but how are we looking?
It was pretty chilly today, but if you thought today was cold, tomorrow's going to be even colder. For tomorrow, Tuesday, our high is going to be 53, so you might want to get a jacket on and a sweater. This week, Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be looking at 60s and 70s. Friday, we might see possible rains in the afternoon. So I'd say that this is pretty much the last week where we're going to be seeing temperatures in the 70s. No more 80s. So yeah, you guys can expect decrease in temperatures from now on.
All right.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Stay tuned for the Nightly Business Report, followed by PBS NewsHour. Also find us on Facebook and Twitter at River Region News, and check out our website at riverregionnews.wordpress.com. I'm Brittany Kiles.
And I'm Jacob Gordon. For Alejandro Guzman, Taylor Zabi, and all the students who work on Evening Edition, have a good night, and we'll see you right back here again tomorrow.